Matt, will either Cooper or Marshawn Lloyd be ready to do anything at all this week in practice?
Cooper will be there for Indy today. And then we have some jog through as well. Lloyd's still out.
Is Morgan ready to progress into that team?
We will see.
Would you like to get him
I
out?
think he's going to mostly do Indy and jog through again today. And then we'll see about practice on Thursday.
For the guys like Lloyd and Morgan, well, I guess just those two specifically, do they need to play on Sunday or Saturday just to show you that they can handle?
How many times are you going to come to my press conference late? We got a rule in the team meeting. You don't interrupt the meeting. Sit your butt outside. Just kidding.
I thought that was directed at me, Mark. I don't think I've asked about those.
I tried to do my best to play that off, but probably wasn't very good. Was it? All right. Okay. No. I know, right?
So anyway, back to, do they need to play on Saturday just to get more game ready for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're young players that haven't played, so you'd love to see them get in there and get some action in. I think you can never get enough reps as a young player. So, we'll see if they're ready to go, and if they can, then you'll see them out there.
You've made a decision on. Have you made a decision on how you're going to treat this last preseason game in terms of whether you're going to play the starters or we treat it like?
I think it's to be determined. I just want to see how this week's the week of practice goes, and then we'll determine it.
Matt, with everything that happened in Denver, what was your message collectively to the guys when they got back committed?
It's why it's always good to probably say less to you guys post game, because I felt a certain type of way, and I don't think after watching the tape, I don't think I truly appreciated it. Our guys were playing hard; they were straining. We had a bunch of mental mistakes, and we didn't execute all the time, and that's why we struggled. But you can even see it from the first play to the last play of the game when they're running the football. I mean, we had 10 hats in the frame. When you hit the pause button, there's 10 bodies at the ball. So our guys were definitely playing hard.
Matt, when you say you're TBD on your plan for Saturday, is that in any way a lesson from the way you thought last week went when you told the guys that they weren't going to play and maybe you weren't all that happy with how the practices went, or are those not related?
Possibly. No, I think we're working through things, some different stuff from a scheduling perspective in terms of what are the alternatives if we don't play them, what are the benefits if you do play them. So I'm kind of working through that right now. We've had a lot of discussions internally, and like I said, to be determined.
Coach, Chris Long here, Green Light Pod. I'm just curious, when you make the switch to athlete, obviously the front's playing a little bit different alignments and a little bit more attacking. How much of a consideration was it how disruptive your group is, and can you speak to how disruptive they are allowing you to make that change?
Yeah, I think that was certainly one of the main, I would say, concerns when you are switching from a 3 down to a 4 down, even though, 80% of the time you're in nickel defense or 75% of the time. But just the mentality of that was definitely something that we had to ask ourselves if we felt like we had the personnel to switch to that style, and I certainly think we do. When you look at our guys, on the edge, like RG and P and JJ and Van Ness, some of the younger guys like Cox and Mosby are doing a great job. And then internally with Kenny Clark and Devontae Wyatt, I think has really excelled in this scheme. TJ's done a great job. So all those guys collectively have done a good job. And certainly if we didn't feel like we had the personnel, I think it would be harder to make that move.
Tyron, I think, led you guys in defensive snaps in Denver. Just how do you think he did with that, and just how beneficial was that for him to finally, be able to see that among?
Yeah, it was good. He certainly, there were some moments where he showed some physicality, and there were some moments that he showed he hadn't played football in a while. So I think it was a good. There was a lot of good plays, and then there was ones that we got to learn from and get better. And just in terms of him getting those game reps is so invaluable, just like we talked about with all those young players. So it was good. He hasn't played a lot of football. He's been out. So I'm hoping to see another jump this week.
Matt, for the joint practice, will it be similar to last week's in terms of who will be and who won't be doing one-on-ones, or has that still be determined?
In practice? Yeah, I mean, right now we have no one-on-one scheduled, so, yeah.
Now that you've had a chance to watch, what do you think of your quarterbacks from the game and what they need to do going forward into this week?
Yeah, you just got to execute the simple plays and throw within the rhythm and the timing of the offense and of whatever the concept dictates, and it's just simple execution. And I think there's room for growth and improvement there.
How much more do you still need to see the kickers kick in preseason game action? I mean, I know you didn't have a lot of opportunities the other night, but it's hard to control. But do you need to see those guys kick more?
I think you can't see them kick enough. So we'd like to, hopefully we can move the ball a little bit better than we did the other night and get into some situations where you can take a chance to kick a field goal.
What'd you see from Oladapo in his first preseason snap?
Yeah, there was a lot of good moments for him. Again, just the more he gets to play, I think the better he'll do, and the faster he'll play. So I thought he showed up and showed good physicality, good range. I think he's still trying to get his legs underneath him, but I'm excited about the player. I think he shows consistent growth every time we go out and practice, both on defense and on teams.
Matt, I know as a coach you always want to be further along no matter what, but when you look at where your offense is, what your defense has been able to do in practice, you use the word humbled with the Broncos practice. Where do you think the offense is in terms of where, compared to where you would like it to be between now and Brazil?
Well, I think you're always wanting to be better than and keep pushing that envelope, knowing that there's always room for improvement. But I think we just got to show a little bit more consistency. And I think in terms of there's some things situationally, mind you, there's not a lot of game planning that's going on right now. And I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to make an excuse for us by any stretch, but I do think it kind of changes the dynamic once you start game planning a little bit more. Right now, you're just running more your core concepts, and not all of them are the most favorable looks at times, but I think that's good. Sometimes you got to learn how to navigate those more challenging looks. And we always talk to our quarterbacks is, you might have a bad play, but you can't make a bad play worse. Just a great example of that was the other night when Sean, on a third down and long, gets flushed from the pocket. You're out of the pocket. Just throw the ball away. Sometimes that's the only play, is just dirt the ball and live to play the next play. So, but yeah, I think we can all improve, and I think always early on in the season, I would say most of the times the defenses are a little bit further ahead in the offense, and till you get your rhythm.
You can make me run gassers if this backfires here, but you made up saying yes, I will let you.
All right.
You made
Nice.
a big switch on your training staff this off season, and you've been pretty healthy so far. Which is I see you can make me run gassers. Do you see the dividends there, or is it just dumb luck, or do you see what the change?
I mean, who knows? Yeah, you'd like to think it's all the process, but I mean, I think injuries are a part of our game, and there's freak things that happen all the time. So I think you try to make the most educated decisions that you can, and really research and try to find the best training practices where you may be deficient in some areas, and try to avoid as many potholes as you can along the way.
Before I join Bill on gassers, I am curious how you're weighing the risk versus the reward of playing the guys in the last game. Like you had said, you felt like there was value in it the way you played last year to start the season, but you got 3 snaps from your offense and 8 from your defense. Is that really enough, and is it worth the risk to try and put them out there again?
That's what we're kind of working through right now.
What's your baseline? Are you more inclined to play it safe? You obviously were previously, but you saw some results, so.
Yes. I really can't answer right now. I think every situation's a little bit different. every year is a little bit different. Kind of, to me, there's a lot of gut feel in regards to where you're at, what are the benefits of going out there, versus maybe getting another hard practice in, whatever it may be. So we're kind of working through that right now.
More, please.
Is it hard to, at this point, you're getting closer to the season, to do a lot of evaluation of the guys who aren't starters, because you've got to sort of get the starters ready and get them some snaps? They didn't do anything Saturday. You know, are you still in the basic training camp mode this week?
Yeah, I think we've gotten, I mean, that's something that we're always very cognizant of in terms of what are the total number of reps. Every year you're trying to hit a certain, I would say, workload for your players. And obviously that can fluctuate based on the schedule and whatnot. But for me, it's more of a gut feel of where we're at.
What's that collaboration like with you and another head coach when you have a joint practice coming? You know what you want out of the practice, he knows what he wants out of the practice. When does that process start? And you know, the collaboration as far as how we're going to build the script out and what we might emphasize.
Yeah, I think they're so common now that there's like almost a template that you kind of follow. And you know, there is collaboration in terms of maybe some of the periods. Do you want to see more third down? Do you want to see more second and long? What, you know, in terms of what are you trying to get out of each period? But you really try to cover all the situations. And certainly, you know, working with Sean Payton was great. Working with Harbaugh has been great. The communication's been on point. I thought in terms of just the flow of the practice last week, I thought there was a lot of value to it, and it'll be a similar format this week. But we've done so many of these, and same with most of these teams around the league, that the format is very, very similar, I would say, most places. I think a big question nowadays is, do you want to go 1 day or 2 days together? And I think that you're seeing a lot more teams are starting to do the 1 day thing, because generally speaking, whoever gets, I guess, the upper hand on day one, the other team's out for blood day two, and then it kind of turns into just a wrestling match.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.